On 16th of July 2025, that was Wednesday, there was very heavy intraday manipulation in the entire US stock market, and this manipulation was based on the news that the president might fire or is going to fire the Fed chairman, and that brought down the S&P 500 to 6202. However, the S&P 500 managed to hold, sustain and to defend the 6200 psychological level. And then there was more than 1% heavy intraday bullish recovery. So here you must understand a few things. Number one, that the S&P 500, Dow Jones and Nasdaq are absolute bullish. On the weekly charts, the trend is bullish. Even in the short term, through the daily charts also, the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq are still trading bullish. And other than that, the S&P 500 was in a pattern that was supporting more bullish movement. And the last and the most important part I have mentioned in the midday update to my Patreon community members, that there is no such provision in the Constitution of the United States or as per the law wherein the president was given power to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve or to remove the chairman of the Federal Reserve. This means that whatever the news was there, it was just for the purpose of manipulation and to create fear. And in the same update I mentioned that now the S&P 500, it maximum, okay, it can move to a 626x or will remain around 626x. Maximum during the retrace, it will be 626x. That's it. So even before this, the manipulation, we knew that if the S&P 500 remains below 626x, then intraday it can test the 623x. And a continuous movement below 626x means that at some point of time, the S&P 500 can even lose 623x to 621x, but then there will be a recovery back to 623x, and if all goes well, then back to 626x. So just like Wednesday, every other day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday also, the movement of the S&P 500 was as we were expecting, because if you notice in the previous weekly technical analysis of the S&P 500, I mentioned that on Monday, on 14th of July, there will be either a gap up open or irrespective of any open and initial or intraday bullish movement. And if all goes well, then there will be a green candle. What? A green candle on 14th of July, Monday, it will be there. And you can read exactly the same that was given in the final update on 11th of July to my Patreon community members. And if you are thinking that Monday, 14th of July and 16th of July were just these isolated cases, then no. Because on Tuesday, this heavy fall was there. On Thursday, it was there. On Friday, this was a gap up open, okay, and then a new all-time high. It was there. And exactly the same was mentioned in the midday update on Tuesday on July 15th. And because of the formation of this bullish cusp on Wednesday in the S&P 500, Dow Jones and in the Nasdaq, it was very much clear that Thursday will be a bullish day. And we have seen on Thursday, open equal to low condition was there. So it was very much obvious. In the final update on Wednesday, I mentioned the same. And all of this was mentioned or was updated or was predicted through these daily precise updates which I give to my Patreon community members every day from Monday through Friday. So guys, before I proceed further, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you want to get these daily precise updates of the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq and in a manner to the entire US stock market, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. Now guys, let me tell you that I have divided this S&P 500 weekly technical analysis in three parts. In the first part, it will be the weekly chart. Okay, I will show you through the weekly charts that why and how the S&P 500 is absolute bullish. Okay, and then the saturation. So weekly chart means a trend, the long-term trend. Okay. Then the second part will be the daily chart. Daily chart means the short-term trend, the short-term picture. short term picture, it is little tricky, because short term picture is putting pressure on the S&P 500, because recently the MACD of the S&P 500 has turned bearish. Okay, and it is now being supported by the bearish stochastic RSI. Okay, so this is putting pressure. In the third part, I will give you the probable movement, means what is going to happen in the next week in the S&P 500 and in a manner to the entire US stock market from July 21st, which is Monday, through July 25th, that will be Friday. So just like last in the previous weekly technical analysis, I have mentioned that on Monday, okay, if all goes well, then there will be a green candle. Okay, because the bullish conditions were there, bullish patterns were there, so that is why a bullish candle, a green candle was expected on Monday. Okay, then a new all-time high. Okay, and then this fall will be limited. Okay, and then again a bullish movement. Similarly, I will discuss that in the third and the last point, that is the probable movement. Okay, but guys, it is recommended that you should watch all of these three sections: the weekly chart, daily chart, and the probable movement, to understand exactly what is going to happen in the S&P 500 and why that will happen and how that will happen. So guys, this is the weekly chart, and I'm going to discuss the first part of the agenda. Okay, weekly chart. Weekly chart means one candle represents 1 week, not 1 day or 1 hour. Okay, so these are the weekly candles. Now let's first analyze the candle. If you notice, it's a green candle. Okay, but there is no defined shape of the candle, right? Other than that, if you follow the pattern, okay, then the pattern says bullish or bullishness. But the most important part of this, the candle, is that in this, the previous week, we have seen an all-time high at 6313.96, and other than that, the closing of the candle was 6296.78 or 0.79. This closing of the candle is above the high of the previous candle, previous weekly candle, that was just 6290. All of this indicates bullishness, bullish or bullishness. Okay, there is no bearishness as such. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that on Monday, okay, on 21st of July, we can expect bullishness in a manner that we can expect either a gap up open on Monday, or irrespective of any open, there will be an initial or intraday bullish movement on Monday. Okay, so this is through the weekly candle of the S&P 500. Now the Dow Jones. Now if you notice the weekly candle of the Dow Jones, okay, it's not good, because the weekly candle of the Dow Jones is bearish in nature. Although intra-week there was some recovery, but still the weekly candle of the Dow Jones is bearish in nature, showing bearishness. Okay, other than that, the open and the closing prices of this, the last weekly candle of the Dow Jones, were below the closing price of the previous weekly candle. So this is indicating bearishness. It is indicating bearishness or the pressure. What does that mean? This means that on Monday, okay, a gap down open is not confirmed, but irrespective of anything, we can expect an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday through the Dow Jones. Okay, now this is entirely or completely different from what was seen in the S&P 500. S&P 500 is saying a gap up open on Monday or an initial or intraday bullish movement. Dow Jones is saying that gap down open is not confirmed, but an initial or intraday bearish movement can happen on Monday. Okay, so how this is going to work? Very simple. Okay, if there comes a gap up open in the S&P 500 or in the entire market, then this will fulfill the condition of the S&P 500. But after the gap up open, the S&P 500 will remain in a condition to come down. Okay, but its fall, or this, the bearish side movement, will be limited. It will be limited. Okay, why there will be this, the fall limited? Okay, this because of the Dow Jones. Similarly, if there comes a gap down open, okay, Then immediately after open, it will fulfill the Dow Jones's condition, and then in intraday, okay, then there will be recovery, or intra week. Okay, intra-week, intra-week there will be recovery 100%. This is what we know. But intraday also on Monday there will be the recovery. Then that recovery will be to fulfill the condition of the S&P 500. Okay, so this is how the market is in a condition to remain bullish, even though there will be the pressure, but that pressure will be handled. Now there are some key levels, okay, that you must understand, that I will discuss later. And I will tell you that what will happen if the S&P 500 loses these key levels, because that is the only condition when we can expect a heavy fall in the S&P 500. Now this will be more clear through the technical indicators, okay, that how much bullishness can be seen, okay, or if there will be any fall, then to what levels that fall will be in the S&P 500 and in the Dow Jones. Okay, technicals will further confirm, okay, or will clear further, okay, all of this thing. Now, so in terms of the technicals, but guys, before that, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you want to get these daily precise updates of the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and in a manner to the entire US stock market, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. Now, in terms of the technicals, the S&P 500 is bullish through the Ichimoku cloud on the weekly chart, and the S&P 500 is bullish through the Bollinger Bands on the weekly chart, and the S&P 500 is bullish through the moving averages on the weekly chart, and the S&P 500 is also bullish through the MACD on the weekly chart, and also the S&P 500 is bullish through the stochastic RSI on the weekly chart, and is not saturated, neither saturated, okay, nor overbought, okay, none of the conditions that can compel the S&P 500 to come down as of now. So the S&P 500 is 100% absolute bullish on the weekly chart. This is exactly what was helping or supporting the S&P 500 to hold and sustain and to trade bullish. Now Dow Jones, well, Dow Jones is also it is also the same. So Dow Jones is bullish through the Ichimoku cloud, through the Bollinger Bands, through the moving averages on the weekly chart, and also the Dow Jones is bullish through the MACD on the weekly chart, and is also bullish through the stochastic RSI on the weekly chart. Stochastic RSI has started to show some bearishness, but it is still trading in the heavy bullish condition. So Dow Jones is also like 100%, or like you can say 95% bullish. Okay, but still it will be considered as 100% because the stochastic RSI is still trading in the heavy bullish zone. Okay, so what does this mean? That the S&P 500 is 100% bullish, Dow Jones is almost 100% bullish. What does that mean? This means that if there comes no adverse news, no negative news, and the best part is that in the next week, okay, at least until Wednesday, there is no fear, okay, and the stock market can remain and can trade bullish without any fear. Okay, saturation is one part that I will show you in the daily chart, but otherwise, okay, there is nothing as such. Only if there comes some bad news and the president says something related to, regarding the tariffs, or regarding the Fed chairman or something like that, okay, then only we can expect some fall, otherwise not. Otherwise the market is expected to sustain and to remain and to trade bullish, okay, because it is getting the technical support, the heavy technical support, bullish support. So in this manner the market is going to trade and sustain in the next week. However, whatever is going to happen or whatever will happen, I will keep you posted, I will keep you updated through these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, and in a manner to the entire US stock market, if you are my Patreon community member. And if you have not yet joined my Patreon community, then let me tell you that, see, these are the daily updates, daily precise updates that I give to my Patreon community members. Like there comes the pre-market analysis. This pre-market analysis is given 1 or 2 hours before the open of the stock market. Then comes the midday update. The midday update is given after 3 hours. Then comes the final update. Final update is given 1 or 2 hours before the closing of the stock market. In this manner, my Patreon community members are very well aware of what is going to happen, what is happening, and what will happen next day. And that's not all, because I also give the stock market opportunities in the premium stocks of the US stock market, top 30-40 companies of the US stock market, the blue chips. Okay, minimum 5 to 10 opportunities every week in the premium stocks. And that's not all, because I also gave the mid-week update. This mid-week update is a video technical analysis, just like the weekly technical analysis, and it is generally given every Wednesday. And in this, the mid-week update, I tell my Patreon community members how the S&P 500 and the entire market is going to behave on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with the exact level, exact zones, exact movement. So guys, whenever you want to join my Patreon community, I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. And when you follow that link, then you will see that this is my Patreon page and this is my Patreon profile. And here you will see this button. This button says see membership options. Okay. And when you click on this button, then you will see these three levels: level 1, level 2, and level 3. Okay. Level 1 and level 2 are same. Only difference is the geographical location. Okay, but level 3 is very special, because you are going to get much more than what you can expect or anticipate. So whichever level you want to subscribe to, you can subscribe, okay, as per your requirements. Okay, level 1, level 2, or this the special level 3. And guys, if you notice, many people have joined my Patreon community for last many days, weeks, months, and years, and they are getting these daily precise updates, pre-market analysis, midday update, final update, stock market opportunities, mid-week update, video technical analysis, each and everything. And they are very well aware of what is happening, why that is happening, and what is going to happen next. So guys, whenever you want to join my Patreon community, I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. You can follow that link and you can join my Patreon community, and you are welcome. Now guys, I'm going to discuss the second point of the agenda, and this is the daily chart. Daily chart means one candle represents one day, not 1 week or 1 hour. One candle means one day. Okay. Now, let's first discuss the candle. If you notice, okay, it's a red candle, but the most important part of this, the candle, is the open equal to high condition of the candle, means the open price of the candle was high for the day. Okay, and the same was seen in the Dow Jones also. Now, other than that, if you notice, 6296.79 was the closing price on Friday. Okay, 6297.36 was the closing price on Thursday. So the S&P 500 lost only 0.01%. Now question is that what is the significance of this closing? What is so special about this closing? So in my midday update, okay, yesterday on Friday, to my Patreon community members, I mentioned that by giving a red candle today, means on Friday, and trading below 6297.35, that was the closing seen on Thursday, the SP500 is actually saving itself by not coming into the heavy technical bearish condition that can trigger a heavy fall in the coming days. And in this manner, everyone might think that the S&P 500 is bearish, but in actual, it is bullish. The S&P 500 is bullish technically. So in this manner, what could have triggered a heavy fall, okay, approx 5% fall, 5 to 6% fall in the next week, okay, just one closing, any kind of green closing in this case could have triggered that fall. Okay, but by giving a closing, by losing only 0.01%, the S&P 500 saved itself and is bullish. Okay, so there is no fear for this 5-6% fall or anything like that. So yes, the candle is bearish, open equal to high condition, closing in this manner is indicating an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday. Simple. Okay, gap down open is not there, but an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday. Okay, Now let's confirm the same through the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is also in the same condition, open equal to high condition. Okay, and there is a good red candle, good bearish candle. Okay, again this indicates an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday. Simple. Okay, now what we have seen on the weekly chart is that the Dow Jones on the weekly chart is indicating an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday. Okay, the daily chart of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones both is again indicating an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday, and also the daily chart of the Nasdaq. The daily chart of the Nasdaq is also indicating an initial or intraday bearish movement on Monday. Okay, but because Nasdaq is trading at the saturation, okay, so it is also indicating a gap down open on Monday. Okay, but the weekly chart of the S&P 500 is indicating a gap up open on Monday, or irrespective of any open, an initial or intraday bullish movement. So all of this, the weekly chart, the daily chart, okay, it is indicating that a gap up or gap down is not confirmed. Okay, but what is confirmed is that an initial or intraday bearish movement will be seen, will happen on Monday. Okay, and then intraday market is expected to sustain and to recover. Okay, in this manner it is going to work. Now yes, the saturation, so it will be clear through the technicals, but guys, before that, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you want to get these daily precise updates of the S&P 500 every day from Monday through Friday, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. And guys, so far if you have liked this video, then hit like to appreciate, and your appreciation matters a lot. Now in terms of the technicals, the S&P 500 is bullish through the Ichimoku cloud, through the moving averages, through the Bollinger Bands on the daily chart. And the S&P 500 is bearish through the MACD on the daily chart, but has regained its bullishness through the stochastic RSI. Okay, it is trading around the saturation levels, but is not saturated. Okay, so all of this indicates that the S&P 500 is 80% bullish on the daily chart. Now comes the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is bullish through the Ichimoku cloud, through the moving averages, through the Bollinger Bands, okay, on the daily chart. And the Dow Jones is bearish through the MACD on the daily chart, and is trying to go bullish through the stochastic RSI, but is still weak. So all of this indicates, and again the saturation is not there. Okay, but more bullish movement can actually trigger the saturation as early as on Tuesday. So the Dow Jones is also like 80% bullish on the daily chart. Now it's clear that the Dow Jones is 80% bullish and the S&P 500 is 80% bullish on the weekly chart, on the daily chart, and both of these indices are almost or 100% bullish on the weekly chart. Weekly chart, daily chart, okay, all of these the charts are bullish or heavily bullish, are indicating that there is more room in the bull side, more room in the bull side. Okay, only Nasdaq can deny this more bullish movement. Otherwise the market is in a condition wherein yes, it can trade, it can remain bullish. And guys, I have this important information to share with you. Okay, and this is S&P 500 knowledge transfer program. Okay, through this S&P 500 knowledge transfer program, I share my knowledge with you. Whatever I know, whatever I have learned, okay, I share that knowledge with you. And one more thing guys, the name is S&P 500 knowledge transfer program, but whatever I'm going to teach or whatever you are going to learn here will be applicable to any stock, any index, okay, or commodity or crypto or anything that is traded in the stock market. Okay, because these are the general rules or the principles of the stock market. So I will tell you the basics and the advance of the market. Okay, I will share with you my modified technical indicators. I will help you set up your charts. Then I will share with you the trading strategies. I have modified these trading strategies, okay, that I will share with you. Okay, and these trading strategies have very high accuracy. Then market analysis, I will tell you how to analyze the market. And then I will teach you the options, the basics and the advanced of the options, and Also, I will share with you the option strategies and the option premium calculator, and we will do live calculations, okay, of the option premium through the option premium calculator. Then the support and resistance levels for next 5 years. Then the price prediction, okay, how to predict the price. So recently I predicted that the 614x will be the all-time high, then there will be a drop, there will be a fall, okay, then there, okay, and we have seen that the 6147 was the all-time high, it came down, fall. Then around 4800, okay, this mark, there was my level, there was a zone actually, okay, the fall will be limited, the heavy fall will be limited to this, and then there will be a recovery, a bounce back, okay. So all of these, the price prediction, etc., etc. Then the trend analysis, how to analyze the trend, and what will be the point of entry, what will be the point of exit in the trend, okay, the reverse engineering through the options. Then how to recognize the manipulation in the stock market, and how to convert the manipulation into the opportunity, okay. Then the hacks, intraday hacks, short term hacks, and the long term hacks, okay. These hacks have very high accuracy, and I use these hacks in my everyday analysis, in my everyday updates. Then these are some terms and conditions, and these are the snapshots of the meetings. So guys, whenever you want to participate in this program, or if you have any question that you want to ask, then this is my email address, okay. So you can simply send me an email regarding your questions or queries, okay, or if you want to participate, and then I will tell you, okay, how you can participate in this program. So guys, I have given the link to this Google spreadsheet in the description of the video and also in the comment section. Now guys, I'm going to discuss the third and the last point of the agenda, and here I will give you the probable movement. Probable movement means what is going to happen in the S&P 500 and in a manner to the entire stock market in the next week. So from July 21st, okay, which is Monday, through July 25th, that will be Friday. Now in the next week, actually the next week is very much favorable to the Wall Street, very much favorable to the stock market. Why? Because there is nothing in the next week. The next week is blank. Only on Wednesday after market hours, Google, okay, Google will post the earnings, will release the earnings, and the impact of the earnings will be seen on Thursday, July 24th. Okay, this means that until Wednesday there is nothing as such. Other than that, only on Friday the durable goods orders economic data will be released, okay. But even if this data comes negative, then also the market can simply neglect this data, okay, unless there comes heavy deviation in this data, okay. So these are the only two noticeable events in the next week. This means that the next week is not heavy in terms of earnings or in terms of data. This means that the market, the entire stock market, entire US stock market has the reasons to remain and to sustain and to trade bullish, okay. Only the Nasdaq is creating the problem, okay. Otherwise, on the through the daily chart and the weekly chart of the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, through these indices, there is no fear, there is no problem, okay. The market, the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and the entire market can remain bullish, okay. But here the only problem is the Nasdaq, because the Nasdaq has hit the saturation, is trading at the saturation and the overbought and the divergence and all of these factors, okay. So this is actually creating the problem now. So but in terms of the numbers, okay, how it is going to work. So if you notice, the closing was 6296.79. For more bullish movement to happen, or for more sustained bullish movement to happen, the S&P 500 must hold and sustain and must give a closing above 6299. This is my calculated level, very heavy level. There must come a closing above 6299, and if there comes two closings above 6299, then this will be much better, because this indicates that the S&P 500 is sustaining or was able to sustain above 6299, okay, and this indicates more bullishness. This means that a closing above 6299 is going to help the S&P 500 to hold and sustain and to move up and to remain and to trade in the 6063xx range. Now in the 6300 range, okay, we have 632x. Okay, 6300 in this, the 2x. Okay, this there is a very heavy level. Okay, and then a little around this, the 632x, there is one more level. Okay, this and these two are creating heavy resistance or heavy resistance zone for the S&P 500. Okay, so more bullish movement after 6299 is or will be towards this level. This is what we were actually anticipating or waiting for, okay, on Thursday and then on Friday. Okay, but the S&P 500 failed to sustain at 629, and that was the problem. Okay, and because S&P 500 failed to hold and sustain at 629, and that is why we were expecting some fall or limited fall. Okay, not much, and then this condition. So bullish movement as of now, okay, depends on 6299, heavily on 6299. Okay, and then there must come one closing, and if there comes two closing, consecutive closing, then this will be more beneficial for the bulls, and then it will be moving towards 6000 to 6300 2x. Okay, that the range or the zone. Okay, now so 6299 is heavy, then that the 632x or the zone around 632x will be heavy. Okay, so we'll have to see how the S&P 500 is going to behave when it comes to this mark or this level or this the zone. Okay, this is the zone, because as of now a continuous bullish movement in the entire US stock market is not expected. Why? Because the Nasdaq, again comes the Nasdaq is actually heavily saturated. Okay, not heavily, but it is good saturated, good overbought. Okay, and these and the divergence, good divergence is there, means the technicals are indicating, or technicals are now going to compel the Nasdaq to come down. For the Nasdaq to come down, okay, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, okay, Google, these are tech indices must fall. Okay, must come down. And out of these, the Microsoft is now heavily overbought, heavily saturated on the weekly chart, because you can see the graph of the Microsoft, it is like just up, it is unidirectional. That is why the Microsoft itself is now very heavy, very much heavy, that it won't be able to hold and sustain, to hold its own weight. Okay, so all of this indicates that continuous bullish movement may happen for like one day, like Monday or Tuesday maximum, but I'm not sure if the market will be able to sustain. Okay, why? Again the Nasdaq, and then comes the Microsoft. Okay, these two, and then by default Nvidia is already there. Okay, that is why the bullish movement, okay, like this. Now the bearish side. But guys, before that, if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And so far, if you have liked this video, then hit like to appreciate, and your appreciation matters a lot. And if you want to get these daily precise updates every day that I give to my Patreon community members every day from Monday through Friday, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. So whenever the S&P 500 moves to this the level or the range, then I will update you. Okay, if you're my Patreon community member. Now comes the bearish side. Again, the bearish side will depend on the 6299, because if the S&P 500 fails to give a closing above 6299, closings are seen below 6299. Okay, this means that the market is now weak, or market wants to hold. Market is either weak or market wants to hold. Okay, because you must understand that the S&P 500 has already breached the 6299 on these three occasions, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, but so far it has failed to close above the 6299. That is why back-to-back failures at 6299 means it is weak and it is expected to come down. When it comes down, then to what level it is going to come down? Again the same 6206x range, 626x range. Okay, so my calculated support level, heavy support level, is there in the 6 to 6x range. As long as S&P 500 is holding, sustaining and closing above 6 to 6x, as it is doing for last few days, okay, 6299 will remain in the picture, and also the 632x will remain in the picture no matter what. Okay, because it's a heavy bullish condition, right? Only when there comes closings below 6 to 6x, okay, and this is also applicable to the 4-hourly closing. If there comes continuous closings below 6 to 6x, then it will become weak in a manner that 623x is there, okay, the next heavy support level, and after 632x, okay, 6200 psychological level, because recently we have seen that on 7th of July and then on 16th of July, on both of these days, the S&P 500 managed to save itself by not breaching the 6200. On 7th of July it came down, the low was 6201. On 16th of July the low was 6202. Okay, so it has defended the 6200. Okay, so in this manner the bearish side will be there. Yes, Google, okay, on Wednesday after market hours, Google will release the earnings. If the earnings are, or if the earnings are seen, okay, as per the expectations of the Wall Street, the numbers and the guidance, if everything goes well, okay, then definitely we will expect more bullish movement, more bullishness. Okay, so this is very simple. But if the earnings are not good and if Google has to lose, in that case we can expect a heavy fall on Thursday and also on Friday. Okay, on both of these days, heavy fall. Okay, heavy fall means that again the 6200, okay, it will come into the picture. And this is because that on Friday the durable goods orders data will be released. Okay, but that data, the durable goods orders data, is not expected to influence the movement of the market much or heavily. Okay, unless there comes very heavy deviation, but there are like less than 5% or 3% chances for that. Okay, that is why the Google is the only factor, okay, here, and it will influence the entire US stock market on Thursday. But again, before Thursday, okay, technically the S&P 500 is allowed to move up and to remain bullish, but now the Nasdaq is creating a problem. This means that we can expect like some kind of conflict, okay, conflict in the movement of the market. Okay, means it want to move up but it is struggling to move up. Okay, and if the S&P 500 remains below, or the closings are seen below 6299, then in that case it is bad. Okay, because this can actually trigger fall itself. Okay, so it needs no other reasons, it will simply trigger the fall, okay, all by itself. However, just one closing above 6299, just one closing, okay, will bring more bullish sentiments in the market that can actually help the S&P 500 to move to 6300, 632x level, and the zone around this the level. Okay, so that in that case, okay, it will work in this manner, means more bullish movement. Okay, now well, chances means there may come a condition as in that S&P 500 want to trade bullish, want to remain bullish, want to go green, but the Nasdaq is the problem. This is what we know because of the saturation and all. However, the Nasdaq, okay, it also has Nvidia, Microsoft, okay, and other the tech indices, but the weightage of the stocks in Nasdaq is different, okay, when we look into the S&P 500. This means that if Apple and Google, Meta, etc., other tech stocks, if they are able to support, okay, or if these stocks goes green or remains green, okay, then even if there comes a fall in Nvidia and Microsoft, there will be little impact or normal impact on the S&P 500, but there will be heavy impact on the Nasdaq. In this manner, the Nasdaq will come out of the saturation and the S&P 500 will be able to hold and won't be able to give up more. And also you must understand, okay, if you are new to the stock market, that these three indices, the Dow Jones, S&P 500 and Nasdaq, means if there comes 1% movement in the Dow Jones, okay, then this means that there will be around 1.5% movement in the S&P 500 and around 1.8 or 2% movement in the Nasdaq. Okay, this is not always of 100% times of, okay, it is true, but generally this is how it works. Okay, so maximum movement will be seen in the Nasdaq, okay, then a little less in the S&P 500, and then the Dow Jones. That's why Dow Jones is the prime index, okay, and the traders, okay, and even the market watch, okay, these the market movers, and also the Wall Street, okay, everyone is or everyone looks into the Dow Jones. Other than that, the structure of the Dow Jones, okay, is entirely different from from the Nasdaq and the S&P 500, because the Nasdaq and S&P 500 are 100%, or not 100%, but see, Nasdaq is 100% tech index, okay, S&P 500 is like 70%, 60 to 70% it is the tech index, but Dow Jones has everything, okay, everything is balanced in the Dow Jones, all of the sectors and everything, okay. That is why even the Feds also, okay, they look into the Dow Jones. Yes, speaking of the Dow Jones, for more bullish movement to happen in the entire market, the Dow Jones must first clear, okay, this the recent high that is at that it has made 44,885, 44,885.83 or something, okay, but this is not the all-time high. The all-time high is 45,073 or 76, okay. So this means that for more bullish movement to happen in the entire market, okay, the Dow Jones must also clear and sustain and must close above 44,885, so that the Nasdaq and S&P 500 can move up, okay. But if the Dow Jones remains below and trades like this, in that case the bullish side in the S&P 500 and Nasdaq will be limited. It will be there, but it will be limited. And at the same time, we will be anticipating, or we should get ready for fall, okay, or a reversal. I will not say fall, but basically a reversal, okay, a movement or a technical reversal here. But guys, once again, whatever is going to happen or whatever will happen, I will keep you posted through these daily precise updates, okay. If you are my Patreon community member, and if you are not, then you can join my Patreon community. I have given the link in the description of the video and also in the comment section. So guys, if you have liked this video, then hit like to appreciate, and your appreciation matters a lot. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, then please feel free to ask your question through the comment section.